At exactly 6:04 a.m., I opened my front door in nothing but my robe, eyes half open, coffee in hand, and there she was. Not just any Karen, but the Karen of Pinehurst Heights, Margaret Whitfield, HOA president, clipboard gripped like a weapon, fanny pack snapped tight, Bluetooth blinking like she was waiting for clearance to launch a drone strike. She had two rent-a-cops at her side, guys with security badges clipped to their jeans, and a bored locksmith already drilling into my front door. Margaret didn't even flinch, just leveled her eyes at me and announced, with that smug, nasal edge I've come to dread, "This property is being repossessed by the Pinehurst Heights Community Association." Like she was personally delivering an eviction notice from God. I sipped my coffee, let out the longest sigh in the history of Monday mornings, reached into my robe pocket, and flashed my badge, State Attorney General's Office, Special Investigations Division. "You just made a career-ending mistake," I told her, nice and calm. The drill froze, the fake cops shuffled backwards, and Margaret's face, usually the color of overdone tandoori chicken, went sheet white. Her clipboard shook. The sun hit my badge like a movie spotlight. You know that look, when someone suddenly realizes their whole life just did a 180. Let me back up a sec. My name's Trevor McKenzie, I'm 39, and I don't exactly fit in here. I'm the guy who likes quiet Sundays, bonsai trees, and crossword puzzles that make you feel smart for 5 minutes. I moved into Pinehurst Heights thinking it would be peaceful. One of those perfect, factory-stamped neighborhoods where every lawn looks cloned, and even the squirrels seem to obey traffic laws. You get 3 choices for your front door: heritage blue, colonial red, or estate black. Don't even think about chartreuse. I commute 2 hours to the state capitol where, yeah, I work as an assistant attorney general. I keep it quiet. Nobody here knew. I just wanted to be another face at the mailbox. But Margaret had other plans. She saw me as the one loose puzzle piece in her jigsaw of perfect suburbia. The first warning came a week after I moved in, delivered at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, typed in 12-point Times New Roman, signed with an angry purple Sharpie. Violation, non-standard shrub trimming technique observed. It was the first of many. Curtains not within the approved beige spectrum, mailbox numbers in Helvetica instead of Arial bold. My favorite? Suspicious silence after 9 p.m., suggesting potential illicit activities. She'd show up in her pastel tracksuit, clipboard out, reading every word like she was announcing the Nobel Prize, while my neighbors watched through their windows, pretending not to. The fine started soon after. $50 for grass that was 1 millimeter too tall, measured by her, with a ruler, in public. $200 for parking my car at 17 degrees off parallel, because the HOA max is 15. $950 for emotionally disruptive solar panel glare. No, I'm not making this up. She even stapled a flyer to the HOA bulletin board with my picture. Caught hauling groceries. Captioned, "Is Trevor McKenzie hiding something?" The paranoia was cranked to 11. Soon she was crawling through my backyard at night in full suburban ninja mode. Black workout gear, headlamp, sneaking around, checking for weed density compliance. She filed an anonymous tip to code enforcement. Possible surveillance operation. Signed, a concerned citizen, MW. Subtle, right? The poor code officer just apologized and left. The truth? Yeah, I was running surveillance from home. But it was for a multi-million-dollar Medicaid fraud case, not some backyard casino. Margaret didn't care. One morning, she measured my trash cans at 5:30 a.m., snapping photos from every angle. Another day, she hired a private investigator to tail me, convinced I was a criminal mastermind. The PI lasted 2 days, then called me to apologize and refund Margaret, explaining, "She thinks you're running some kind of mafia operation." I told him, "Buddy, I don't even jaywalk." And then came the behavioral violations. Margaret showed up at HOA meetings with a full PowerPoint. The Trevor problem, a clear and present danger to community values. She invented a color-coded violation system, yellow for minor, red for major, and purple for crimes against community aesthetics. She accused me of reading the newspaper on my porch in a surveillant manner and jogging at suspicious intervals. She called out my non-standard frequency of garage door usage. She even claimed my bird bath was a threat to community peace, providing a laminated spreadsheet of approved bird species. Cardinals good, Blue Jays bad. Who knew? Her vendetta spiraled into madness. She formed the McKinsey Monitoring Subcommittee, meeting weekly, minutes public. I pulled the files later. Entries like subject observed walking dog counterclockwise, possible coded message. Breathing pattern while retrieving mail suggests anti-community sentiment. You can't make this up. And the neighbors, at first amused, started rolling their eyes, until they became targets, too. But Margaret wasn't done. At dawn on a Tuesday, she rolled up with her HOA eviction task force, matching t-shirts and everything. The locksmith was already mid-drill, humming. A rent-a-cop hammered a seizure sign into my flower bed. Margaret read from Article 7, Section 19C, total fiction, as it turned out, claiming I'd failed to submit ornamental decor plans 30 days in advance. She cited my flagrant disregard for harmony standards as grounds for immediate property forfeiture. She was loving it. That's when I pulled out my badge. Let it catch the light. The whole world seemed to freeze. The locksmith stopped, set down his drill, and started quietly packing up. One rent-a-cop started whistling and pulled the sign out of my flower bed. Margaret, well, she turned the color of skim milk, then sickly green. I stepped closer, low and steady. Would you mind repeating that accusation for my lapel mic? The State Attorney General's office is very interested in HOA overreach right now. Her hands shook. She took a step back. For once, she had nothing to say. 2 hours later, the HOA gazebo, her old tribunal spot, had turned into a state investigation field office. Margaret sat sweating between two compliance officers while I, now in full badge and blazer mode, asked her about fines, fake citations, and why she'd used HOA funds for a golf cart labeled Enhanced Violation Detection. The best part? The security upgrade was just her son installing Ring cameras from Walmart, billed at 5 times retail. Turns out, the state had been looking for a case exactly like this. Margaret wasn't just an overzealous president. She was the embodiment of suburban tyranny. As the investigation snowballed, neighbors started talking. Margaret had fined an elderly couple until they almost lost their home over a wheelchair ramp that clashed with approved paint colors. One family had paid $5,000 in fines for excessive happiness during outdoor gatherings and unusual garage door usage. She'd even paid herself $2,000 a month as an aesthetic guardian through a fake LLC she made on her home computer. She'd created companies like Premium Lawn Excellence, Aesthetic Compliance Consultants, all just money funnels. Her sister, her teenage neighbor, even the family dog were vendors on the HOA account. The more we dug, the deeper it went. Fraudulent fines, fake bylaws, embezzled funds. The community lost $175,000 over 3 years to Margaret's schemes. She justified it all, on local news, no less, as maintaining neighborhood excellence. She didn't see herself as a crook. She saw herself as the last line of defense against suburban chaos. But once the governor's office got wind of it, once the headlines rolled in, she was done. Cameras rolled as, mid-HOA budget meeting, 2 state troopers strode in and cuffed her right in front of her loyal board. Margaret shrieked. I was the culture of this community. Without me, property values will plummet. Someone in the back yelled, my petunias were never good enough for you, Margaret, and the place erupted. At sentencing, Margaret tried to explain her color-coded violation system. The judge just stared at her, unimpressed. 3 to 5 years in prison, $75,000 in fines, full restitution. She actually whispered to her lawyer, but I laminated the guidelines. Yeah, that happened. Now, Pinehurst Heights is different. The lawns are still green, but nobody gets fined for reading on their porch. The neighbors actually talk to each other. Sometimes, late at night, if you listen real close, you can hear the sound of someone quietly measuring their grass with a ruler. Just for the nostalgia, I guess. And as for me, I sit on my porch, sip my coffee, and let the cardinals do whatever the hell they want in my bird bath. Maybe Margaret was right about one thing. Suburbia is a jungle. But sometimes, the biggest threat isn't the birds, it's the people who think they run the place. So here's my question for you. What's worse, the neighbor who breaks the rules, or the neighbor who is the rules? Drop your opinion down below. Share your own HOA horror stories. Debate what real justice looks like in a place where everyone thinks they're the sheriff. I'll be here, coffee in hand, rooting for the birds.